Alright folks, we got a special treat here, and you can see from this customized deck box that it's going to be something a little bit outside the normal box, but you know that there's not going to be no bullshit. Here we go, guys. We got Lamar here, and he is deck profiling his special edition of Counter Fairies. Go ahead, Lamar.
Okay. Alright, so this is Counter Fairies. Most people, when they're used to hearing about the term Counter Fairies, it usually just sticks to a lot of counter traps and only a handful of monsters. This is totally different. Now, when I say totally different, I mean totally, because I do run counter traps. I run a good amount, but it's very monster heavy. And you'll see like there's a lot of synergy between a lot of the cards and a lot of the decisions that I choose to make, to where it pretty much goes in a full circle where everything is highly searchable in this deck. You're always going to have a way to reach the cards that you need, okay? Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start off with, the main generic card everybody plays in every deck. Pretty much for the most part, Ash Blossom. The reason why I choose to go with Ash over Joel is because Ash, it's going to be great during that Shaddoll matchup when you go against it. They open up with a Shaddoll fusion, you go ahead, you counter it, they're slowed down, they're stunned. Instantly, they're done. Every so often you're going to be able to go ahead and just use this card to stun off a lot of great offensive play and stuff like zombies, and especially with like the new cards coming out, this card is definitely going to go back up and see it play, more played than it has recently. That's why that's my hand trap of choice. And now to the main cards, the favorite cards. These are 3 Condemned Witch. Okay, Condemned Witch is the main card that I use for my toolbox. There actually are quite a few of combo plays you can actually do with this little card here when it comes down to countering cards. And the rulings for these cards, they seem a little awkward at first, but if you look them up online, you'll realize that they all do work, okay? So there's a couple of trick plays that you can use with this card to search out fairies. So basically you can get a negate on top of your other negate, and then your opponent is going to be stuck for a second because they're going to be looking very awkward, trying to figure out what exactly is going on and what happened. But by the time they figure that out, they're already stuck in the loop, okay? This is the main card that's going to be used to toolbox out our level 4 fairy engine for the deck. And also you run 1 copy of a forbidden spell to go with that, just so you can go ahead and thin out your deck loader and also give you an extra negate for that opening play. Okay? Primarily you want to go first in this deck, but the hand traps will allow for you to go second, okay? Here we have our stick share package. Stick share, anytime you resolve this combo, you're gonna win the game. You're gonna draw a lot of cards. You're gonna be set up to where you usually get off double pops, and it also sets up other combos in the deck. Not to mention it's gonna dig you through for your hand traps and your counter traps. So when you're going first, you're gonna set up that strong board. You're gonna have your spell speed 3, so you're gonna have those hand traps for the negates, as well as a tool that you can use for a loop in the deck. We'll get back to that later, okay? And this is our last level 4 for the deck. This is Power Angel Valkyria. When you negate the activation of a spell, trap, monster effect, particularly negate the activation of effects, you're going to go ahead and launch her effect off, which is going to allow for you to search your deck for any fairy monster in your deck. Any. Okay? So this is pretty much your ultimate starter. The moment that you get off in the gate, you're going to go to toolbox immediately after this. Okay, so you'll always be able to get what you want when you need it. You'll be able to grab more and more negates. Okay, and you can also use this to grab the boss monster in the deck anytime you see fit. Okay. Great tool. Got to scatter all your combo pieces within the deck to stop your opponent from going off. And this is EVA. So EVA, it's a very unique card. It was actually the ultra rare in the starter deck, but most people choose to ignore this card and they'll just go after the other ones and they play around with it. That's a huge mistake. EVA is probably the big core of the deck. It's the big core of the deck. Basically, whenever you would send this card to the graveyard, whether it's through card effects such as discard through a spell or a trap, or monster effects themselves, you're going to go ahead and toolbox your deck for 2 level 2 or lower fairies by banishing cards on the field or in the graveyard. So immediately, it's going to toolbox out our primary engine for the deck for negates, okay? And that's going to be our Herald of Orange Lights, and our Herald of Green Lights. Okay?
No purple?
No purple. Testing even one purple actually led to me losing multiple games. It just never came up. It never really came up. You know? Green is very good because obviously like when you're going against decks like Shadals, you know, or you're going against decks like say Spirals that's trying to come off with their little 1-for-1 plays and whatnot, it's gonna shut them down real fast. You know, and also if you're discarding EVA to go with that, you get the additional negate. That's what really shuts up those things. You know, you're a Shadal player, you're trying to calm them off, but you just got double negated with your spell cards. After that, you're done. You have to set monsters. And after that, you can use the level 4s to just take control of the game, you know, or you can use the boss monsters on top of that. And that's the same thing when you go into the monster negation slash. You know, you can use it to take out big strong monsters like the Dino matchup. You know, like when they go for their pop-up, you're going to go ahead and pop up right with that. You're going to shut them down. You can also use this offensively. You know, that's a real big thing with this deck. Knowing when to actually interrupt, or if you should even interrupt the play. Because sometimes you want to go ahead and you want to push out with your plays like a stick share, or you want to push out with the final boss monster deck, which we're going to get to in a second, okay? So timing is very important. You have to know how a lot of decks work and how a lot of combos work, okay? Because you can't just throw these out, okay? On paper, you're getting rid of 2 cards for 1. Okay, you're getting rid of 2 cards for 1, but it's at any time and it negates the activation of a card. Which means that this can negate what other cards cannot negate, okay? It also allows you to combo with your power engines, okay? So that way you're going to get your searches off, you combo EVA with the discard, you get your multiple cards off. And this is a heavy hitter in the deck. This is a par shot. Pretty much anytime you negate the activation of a card, or you negate a counter, or you negate a card, or just use a counter trap card in general, you can summon this card from your graveyard or your hand, but you can banish cards from anywhere, period. You can banish it from your hand, you can banish it from your grave, you can banish it from the field to summon this guy. When he inflicts battle damage, you're going to switch your deck for a counter trap. Almost every time I use this effect, I win that game. Every time I use that effect, I win the game. Okay? It's too strong because you're always going to be able to get cards like Warning, you're going to be able to get cards like Judgment, you're going to be able to get cards like Striking in order to shut down your opponent's plays. After that, it's done. That's game over. It's game over. And we're going to round out with the artifact package here. So I played 1 Scythe. So Scythe, as everybody knows, is a great card for shutting down a lot of infinite plays in the meta. Pretty much, you go first, you flip Scythe, then you combo on your turn, that's GG. That's game. And people can't usually come back from that, okay? Alright, so Lancia might be the awkward one, but the thing is about Lancia is that Lancia is searchable through your power engine. So you can get the immediate discard off, okay? Or you can shoot it up, and if you see your opponent go in the inner battle phase for evenly match, you can go ahead and pop it off. That way you can go ahead and you stop them, they're not going to flush you out, and they have to try to continue on with their plays, but you'll have your other negation of your card set up. You can also empty out your graveyard, you can fuel for plays like your boss monster, or you can fuel for plays like the EVA. Okay?
You can pay,
but
you can trade cards towards it.
Both of these cards are used to heavily stun your opponent, so you can go ahead and you can pop off. Okay?
Why?
So now we're going to go to our traps. I'm going to start off. Obviously, we just saw the artifacts. Go ahead, you run 3 sides. Well, you run your 1 side, you run your 1 copy of Lancia, and you're going to go ahead and run your 3 copies of these so you got access to it at any point in time. I don't really have space in here for a trap trick engine, but it is something that you can see about putting in here if you want to. You know, try things out, you know, mess around. You know? Then comes your 3 Solemn Strikes. Solemn Strike, obviously, this one of the cards, so like if you go against the deck like Pendulum, it's going to be automatic shutout. You know, they can't get off a summon, they're done. You know, not to mention on your turn, you know, like I was mentioning earlier, it's all about your timing. You may not necessarily want to negate a summon that your opponent's going for. You make it all better by just saving it for your stick share combos. So when you go for your stick share combos, you can go ahead and just pop off, you activate the strike, you shut them down on the counters when it plays, okay? Yeah. Very great card, great for countering cards like Droll and Metal, you know. Great for countering when your opponent goes to those big summons and those push plays, you can shut them down. You're going for the spiral, you can go ahead and you can negate that, shut that down as well too, okay? warning, this is a card like a lot of people they disagree with me on when it comes down to it. When it comes down to warning. But it pays 2,000. This does push you closer into like an OTK range, okay? But the thing is, it stops normal summons. So when you're going against the deck that's very dependent on normal summons, you can stop from popping off. The main thing that made me start playing Warning is because I started playing against Grand Maju. And as you know, they'll banish 10 cards on top of their deck, and then all of a sudden you're staring down a beast stick that does not have an activated effect. You have to be able to stop that, because if you don't, you're probably just going to get one shot. And that's not pretty, but also it stops the spells, you know, of course, you know, should all match up, such should all fuse and things like that, okay? And it stops effects that summon, so, you know, if your opponent's going for, you know, different continuous spells or field spells with those effects, you can go ahead, you can counter those with this card, okay? So 2,000 line points, it's a heavy price, but it slows them down terribly, okay? And the final card everybody knows is Solemn Judgment. Solemn Judgment negates pretty much anything in the game. When it gets down to it, Solemn Judgment shuts down everybody. You're going to be using a Parshaft card. Parshaft inflicts the battle damage. As soon as you inflict the battle damage, you start setting Solemn Judgments. You know, after that, it's pretty much, oh no, what am I going to do? You know, obviously, you see here for the main function though is to stop when your opponent is going for those big field wipe cards. You know, things like the Lightning Storms, things like the Even League matches. Those are the main things you want to counter. But every so often, you will have to use these counter other plays. Okay. And Forbidden Chalice. You run the one Forbidden Chalice just so you can go ahead and work it with your Condemned Wishes, so you can always have access to an extra negate. Not to mention it's a spell too. You know, so if your opponent does try to one red reboot, you'll still have to counter play for it, okay? And
Is that search from deck or deck and grave?
What's that?
Is it search from deck or just?
It just searches from the deck.
Okay.
So if you draw it, you know, if you draw it, but it's still in the gate there. But you'll still have your toolbox card right here anyway. So it's not a useless card at all. And this card is definitely great, especially like when you're going on that second round turn, because sometimes you don't want to set the card. And also I've had games where I've actually won based off of a minor boost to something like Parshaft. You know, making it go over the 3,000 mark is just enough for you to go ahead and you can crack off a week. That's it for the main deck. This is the extra deck here. Bagusa. I don't really summon this card too much, but it does come up. You'll basically just be using this to like stall out your opponent for their plays. Another card you can use for a couple stall plays is going to be Utopia. You can rank up into Lightning if you want to on those plays. They'll shut that down. Now, this is a card that I've used quite a bit with Parshaft to win a couple games here. Douglas the Timeless. I never really used the draw effect, but I have used it once to trigger off the EVA. And basically, if you're a Parshaft, it's going to be just a free card. Yeah. But most of the time when I go for this, I go for damage and I go for gain with things like Parshaft. This is pretty much the only time I actually go for this card. Extra Night card wins too many games. Like, just too many. It steals a lot of games. This is a card that sometimes I debate whether or not I actually want to go to running multiple of. Along with the Tornado Dragon here, sometimes I go back and forth on Tornado Dragon. I may want to run 2 of those when I play it. You know, obviously it's used to clear up back row decks, toolbox, rank 4s. Cassiel, you know, if a card is anti-destruction, this is what you go for. Never really use the flip effect, you only use it just to send the deck. Driller, shuts down people playing, if you're playing against something like, playing pretty much against anything that pops up in the grave, you go against the Orgis matchup, you're going to turn them off. You go against Shaddolls, you're going to turn them off. You know, but for the most part, something about Shaddol matchup, I usually avoid making this card during that matchup in particular because it's still Shaddol fusion, free materials. Just by having your cards out on the field in general, it's going to force them to go for a hard summon. This is always something just to keep in mind. These are the only Link monsters I run. Pretty much, they're both here for spot removal. Both of the Nightmare monsters, you know, Papa Monster, Papa Spells, Trap. Link and Rebo, I usually use this though, just so I can go ahead and trigger off my EVA. Get you a little stall in, and sometimes it's enough that you need so you can go ahead and hit your stick in your shares and things like that. Or enough time for you to to funny place like you have to negate your own cards, which does come up from time to time. But your cards allow for you to do it. You negate your own cards, so you'll go ahead and push through with something like Par Shap, and then Par Shap will course to set your counter shaft, so then you'll follow up with the additional negates. So these are the triple fours. This is what you go through with your stick shares. So something to remember is that obviously you're using stick shares so you can get the bodies on field, so you can make these monsters. But as you know, on stick and share, when you come out for that play to get these 3 monsters out, don't forget that every time that you make a monster, it doesn't have to be Delta Rose, because that's usually what people think of. They just think of Delta Rose when it comes out of stick and share. Don't forget, you can go ahead, you can use it to summon this card here, even for Ophion. So you can go ahead, you can get your pop-off for the effect, you can get the immediate removal for it. They can change to it, but sometimes it's useful for the opening place, you can go ahead and discard the cards from their hands, okay? And also it gets you information on what they have and what you can expect, so it gives you a little more time to think about it, okay? So that does make a huge difference. Then you have your Delta Rose. Delta Rose allows you to go with stick and share so you can get your immediate pops. So you draw all your cards, you get your immediate pop, but then you're also going to get a second and a follow-up, okay? They can't change until you pop off that way. And then Diamond. Pretty much almost any time I summon Diamond, Diamond's pretty much an auto win card in this set. If you ever go into that second summon with this card, you're usually going to win that game. Any deck that uses darks, obviously they're going to be locked out. Decks cannot mill with it. They cannot add cards from the grave to your hand. That's something you may forget. You cannot add cards from the grave to your hand. But also, more importantly, the additional dart negation effects. That pretty much sets out everything right there. Okay. And the final card for the extra deck is Bujin Amaterasu. So Amaterasu, some people may not know this, because I didn't know it for a while, and I know it's a lot of people online, even people who play Bujin decks, they don't know it. This is a quick effect, okay? It doesn't say so on the printing of the card, but this is an actual quick effect. So you can use this at any time during your turn to summon up the Power Angels or to summon up your stick, so you can get your additional summons for the combo, or even pop off with EBA, and then you can link up into that, and then you can set your additional negates off of that. But Bujin Amaterasu allows you to circle off one of your negation effects, whether it's your EVA or your Par Shap, to cross you banish with that. So immediately after you get the negations off, you can go ahead and grab an additional one. And pretty much as that happens, your opponent's going to realize, like, okay, I just got negated 3 times, he didn't really lose anything. And it's going to be on to the next game. Okay? So this card, because it's a quick effect, it's very, very ridiculous. The moment that you banish for the other card effects, you can immediately trigger. Because those banishments are cost for EVA and for Par Shap, okay? So you take advantage of that, and you just have to swap your negates in and out for the deck, okay? And that rounds it up for the hand trap counter fairy build.
All right, so that's the main deck and the extra deck. You don't have a side deck, but if you did have a side deck, what would you put in it?
Side deck cards that I'll probably put in. Obviously, it depends on obviously it depends on like the that you're gonna be playing and whatnot. But cards that I usually play in, I'll go ahead and I'll throw in things like Lancias. I'll throw in like additional Lancias inside of the side deck. Those are cards that I would play. And usually I would play hand traps like Ghost Ogre, Droll, and Lockbird, as well as traditional spell and trap removal. But other cards that I would use, I use
Unlock the shock.
Hey, it's a fairy, man. I'm all for it, man.
Unlock the shock.
For those of you who recognize the voice, that's our special needs duelist, Ian.
But another card that I recommend for the side deck heavily is Unending Nightmare. Just so you can go ahead and get the additional continuous negations off. Because sometimes you don't want to get rid of those materials that are in your hand. And Unending Nightmare allows you to go ahead and just pop the other cards, such as we're playing against Mystic Mind. It's always going to be there. It's going to be a continuous source. I think it's a card that people should really just be using in general. It's just really good right now.
Mm-hmm. All right. Right on. All right, guys. Well, that's the deck profile. Any shout-outs?
Shout-outs. I'd like to shout out everybody that's playing here in Portland Guardian Games.
Nice.
I also like to give a shout-out to my friends back home in Alabama, especially Jonathan. Me and him chatted a little bit on these different fairy builds. I definitely like to give a shout-out to him. I'd like to give a shout-out to my cousin Shine. I also go through a lot of deck building stuff with him, just chit-chatting on like a lot of those.
Nice.
And for the most part, that'd be it.
All right, guys, that's our unique deck profile tonight. Like, subscribe. Until next time, don't forget to scoop in the